Call this meeting to order at 3:05. Ms. Wanda, would you like to give the question? Okay, all right.
Excuse me. Give me a second.
Councilman Crittenden, would you like
I'm
to?
sorry. Okay.
All right, Father, we're coming to you again, and just always want to be thankful. I always say the same things, but when I talk to you, I just want to be thankful. You know all about us. You know the inside and out. But just look after us as we do this job here, and just protect us as we go home, and let us treat each other pretty good. And we love you, and thank you most of all for Jesus. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. David, roll call.
Yes, sir. David Walkenstein. David Walkenstein. Brian Warner.
Honey.
Bill Aikman.
Honey.
Keith Austin. Harley Buzzer.
Straight shooter.
Joe Bird.
Honey.
Sean Crittenden.
Here, on.
Mike Dobbins.
Here.
Wanda Hatfield. Rex Jordan.
Here.
Dick Lay. Mike Shampaugh.
Here.
Mary Bakershaw.
Honey.
Eo Smith.
Here.
Janice Taylor. Here. Victoria Vasquez. Pam Duncan.
That's pretty good. We're getting pretty good with Cherokee.
I hear a motion to approve the minutes of January 14th,
So moved this
2019.
time.
So moved. Second, any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Down in reports, Ms. Diane Kelly, vocational programs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've got some real exciting news going on in our department. I know you've got your report that we sent out to you, and it basically outlines our alternative ed program and our disability employment initiative program and our coming home program. We've got some new blood in the department, and sometimes change is good and new blood is good, and those boys are really working hard to get the word out there about their programs. But the big program that we're really focusing on is our Job Corps program. We received our 8th request for proposal, our 5-year contract. We've been operating Talking Leaves Job Corps for 40 years, and we received our grant that says that we have an optional year of 2 years, and then 3 after that they'll negotiate with us. We're going to get in the neighborhood of $34,811,206 for the 5-year contract. And I know that several people worked very hard on that. It's a very thick document. There's a lot of regulations that we had to comply with, and we had to write our own plans. And once we get the award letter, then we have to go back in and modify in accordance with some of the things that they've asked us to do. You may not be aware of this, but every week we are having conference calls with the Dallas Regional Office, and I'm just going to share this with you. This is our what we call OBS report. These are the last 2 weeks. We have been at 100%, which means we're at capacity for the center, which means that it's full. We have been full since August of 2018, and every week the staff that go out and do recruitment have to make sure that they meet the numbers. If during the course of that week that we have a couple of students that we lose, which means that they may have gotten into a fight or maybe they didn't pass a drug test, then that ups our numbers that we have to bring in for the following week in order to stay ahead of the game. We also have to get graduate placements. So every week the regional director meets with all of those Job Corps centers that you see there in Region 4. We're in competition with Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, the Northeast. There's like 6 different regions, and we're the ones that's right in the middle part of the United States. We go all the way up to North and South Dakota and all the way down to Texas. And Oklahoma has 3 Job Corps centers. We meet quarterly with the other 2 Job Corps centers. They're not run by Cherokee Nation. They're run by contractors. and they're in competition. We're a nonprofit, but if we're not meeting our performance standards, then we could lose our contract. There was an announcement that came out last week where Kicking Horse, Montana would no longer operate a Job Corps center. They lost their contract.
Really?
They haven't had any students being recruited to go out there on the reservation in quite some time. So if you don't keep your center full, that is money that they're going to collect from you at the end of the year. So there's a lot of things that go into operating a contract as opposed to a grant. And Job Corps is a contract. It is not a grant. So we have to have oversight from them all the time on whether it's our recruitment, our placement, and the girls that work recruitment on the front end. Then there's the girls that are staff that works the placement once they complete their training programs. So I just wanted to share that with you because you don't know how these work. I know you talked to the health department. I think there was something about one of the programs that they have, I think PACE or the elderly program. We have a lot of programs that are not grants. And a grant is something that you get year after year if you're competitive with it.
Yeah.
But contracts are a lot different because they're looking at your contract and they're looking at somebody else's contract. So I think it's very behooving that we would be operating a Job Corps center. That's the only one we operate for the last 40-something years. Now, Tulsa Job Corps sits on Lewis Avenue, and if you're familiar with our jurisdictional boundaries, it's sitting inside the Cherokee Nation. And then the other one is in Guthrie, which is one of the larger Job Corps centers. Ramona Holt is our deputy director for Job Corps. She's also instrumental in working with the state board for our accreditation. They're coming to our center this week. The accreditation officer is, and she's spearheading that meeting with Guthrie and with Tulsa. And one of the things that has helped us is the consistency. Ramona's worked for our Job Corps for 20 years. She also has 2 master's degrees, and she has a degree in academics. And so she's very instrumental in helping to get that accreditation. She has sat on the accreditation team for the state when they've gone out to some of these other high schools to do their accreditation. So that says a lot for her. So we're just very fortunate to have her. We're fortunate to have Don Lucas, who is a former superintendent of schools for Hulbert, but he also worked for us, and he is our superintendent for all 3 Job Corps centers. We're the only state in the nation that operates and issues high school diplomas in addition to the GED. We were able to get that in place when Sandy Garrett was our superintendent of schools, and it's carried on. And we feel very fortunate that we're ahead of the game on those high school diplomas with some of the other states because they have to depend on a local school system to help them with theirs. So there's a lot of good things going on with Job Corps, but I wanted to share that with you because it's a feather in Jay, Ramona, and that management team, Deborah Lack, Rick Manus. They worked on the budgets, and I have to commend Lacey and Jamie Cole because they were there helping us on the sidelines to help get this working in our contracts division. Christina Carroll and that team over there in the contracts office. So a lot of people had some work in this, and when Mr. Goslin called to tell us that they were signing off on it before March 1st, we were very thrilled and pleased, especially whenever it came out that Kicking Horse had lost their contract. In addition to that, this past month, we did Groundhog Day, which was Job Shadow Day. Job Corps students were shadowing in different locations, as well as our in-house programs. Jan Grogan and George Roach and some of the in-house programs, they job shadowed during Groundhog Day. So we work very hard to get our students jobs, and one way we do that is through our job placement or our summer youth program or our job career placement after they come out of the training programs. So I just want to share that with you. If you're hearing any complaints from any of your constituents, we have moved offices. With the growth of these programs, we had to move our vocational programs, our work experience, our summer youth program, and our day training program. That's Jeff Vance and George Roach's programs. They have moved to the old Tarot building up at Southgate. They completed their move last week. We've had one complaint, and that was because they got off the CATS van here, and they didn't have the CATS van weight on them, so therefore we had to transport them up to the other building. So if you have constituents that are complaining, just have them call Jeff or George. We're working with CATS to try to get that rectified. Most of the people will find a way to come down and get their pay cards. All the payouts are down here, and all the counseling is up there. All of our newbies are here in this building. The new program for opioid training, our TEP program that we got, which is our emergency grant, our economic development, and our reentry program, they're all located down here in this building. And Brenda said to let y'all know that TANF is moving along. She and her team will be in Oklahoma City this week with the Creek Nation meeting with the state Department of Human Services to try to get that rolled out. We're looking at over 2 years' time with the TANF program. We're looking at probably close to $5 million up to $12 million. We're looking at probably 45 more staff when that rolls out, probably late spring. We are in the jurisdictional boundaries for this opioid grant. We got $5,996,501. It's a 2-year grant. We're real excited because there was only, I think, 6 awarded. The other 5 went to states. Oklahoma was not one of those states. We were. And in fact, Oklahoma's congratulated us. New York got one of the grants, and I can't remember who else got them. But they're very competitive, and that says a lot for the staff that are working on all this. We're going to be working very closely with behavioral health. There is 2 task forces, one through the health department, and then there's also one that's for all of our programs for the opioid grant. So we're very involved with that. I know that with Steve, when he gave his report, he told you a little bit about some of the recruitment that's going on. His team, Human Resources, Nason Morton's office, our office, we're all working together to roll out some recruitment health fairs. The first one kicks off tomorrow over here at the community ballroom. We've got 6 scheduled between now and May, sorry. We've got a whole bunch more to schedule, but we've got about 6 of them scheduled. Hunter Palmer is working to coordinate that, and Julie Hubbard and her staff have been very gracious to work with us on the public relations. And Hunter, I want to congratulate him. He received an award for 40 and under for his work in economic development this past couple of weeks. We just have a lot going on and a lot to be proud of. We feel that we wouldn't be able to do some of this if we didn't get the support of our principal chief, the council, and all the programs inside Cherokee Nation. Career Services touches just about everybody in the whole tribe from time to time, and it's through the efforts of everybody working together that we're able to do what we do. So, do y'all have any questions?
Speaker. Diane, you've been involved with Talking Leaves from a long time. I don't know if everybody realizes, but it's a difficult task in pleasing the Department of Labor. I mean, they're one of the most difficult agencies I think I ever had to work with. I mean, you've got to stay in compliance all the time at the highest level. I remember when Kicking Bird was one of the model places that I was asked to go see because of their building trades back in the 90s. And then about a year ago, we were about 65 students down.
We were.
So, and then you made the outreach drive with your staff, and give them a thank you from us and commend them for outstanding work, because when you look at the numbers here of all the other all the other Job Corps, we're right up there with the best of them. That is not an easy task. So
It is not, and I spend a lot of time over there. I have this last year.
Yes.
Now that the RFP's in place, I told Jay you won't see very much of me. He said I better. But Jay has done a good job. He's been out sick the last couple of weeks. He's had the flu, and he still stays in touch. If you don't think that he doesn't know what's going on, he does. We have cameras over there, by the way. So if you want to come over and play pool, or if you want to come over at any given time, you'll be on our cameras, and the Dallas Regional Office will say, "Now, who's that big old tall kid out there playing basketball?"
Well,
I'm just
see,
kidding.
last time we checked when you were lacking a table, and, we recommended you get one. The deputy and I went over there and see if they worked properly, the pool tables. But that was before the cameras.
We have brand new ones now. Brand new pool tables.
As long as you got old cameras and new pool tables. Just Dobbins?
Diane, how many employees are at the Job Corps?
We have about 90, I believe 96, and we have 204 students on the center.
Those 96, how many have college degrees?
I would say that several of them do. They did ask us to up the residential advisors to a different level, so that was up this past year, and we've got several people. I think I may have told you John Overacker has a degree, but he had to go back and get 12 hours of psychology, sociology this last year because that was a requirement for somebody that was overseeing the dorms. So the standards for Job Corps has gone up considerable. So we are looking at some of the people that are in some of the dorms that work with them 24/7 to have some of those college hours that weren't there before.
Any other questions for Ms. Diane? Diane, good job.
Thank
Good
you.
work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next, we got Miss Jennifer Pigeon. It's gonna fill in for Mr. Ron Etheridge for the executive director's role.
Ron's in Hawaii.
Yeah, Ron's in Maui.
Him and Leary.
Good afternoon, everyone. We've got a couple of updates. I believe that you guys were sent a copy of our STOL policy that we're looking at. We do have one change that we're going to be looking at making. We forgot to include a release of information policy or statement so that we can share their information, like with HR or CMB to do some recruiting. So we'll be adding that one little statement there before we get to publish this application. Couple of calendar items. March 1st, the scholarship application will open. Be an online scholarship, scholarships.cherokee.org, with a deadline of June 15th. And also on March 1st, our Public School Appreciation Day will be at 11 a.m. at Hard Rock, with registration starting at 10:30.
Could you repeat that, Jim?
Yes, March 1st, registration at 10:30. The event will start at 11. Public School Appreciation Day.
What's the date on that, Ms. Pigeon?
March 1st.
March 1st is the appreciation or the,
You're the
for
keynote speaker.
public schools.
okay.
You better get that down.
All right, so March 1st. And where's that, Sequoia?
Hard Rock.
Hard Rock, okay.
Oh, June 15th.
Oh, June 15th.
Giving the opening remarks.
I believe it's on your calendars already. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, we shared that with Gail. And Verna is out on site visits this afternoon, so if you have questions for her or Ron, I can take those back for you.
Yes, Councilwoman
I'd
Bass.
just like to see you after this meeting for a minute.
Yes, Councilwoman Shaw.
Yes, I have a question on the Public School Appreciation Day. I know that's where we're going to give out the checks from the tax commission, correct?
Yes.
Do the schools know ahead of time on how much those checks will be?
No, not usually.
Not usually.
That's a good
And I don't suppose you would know if we have any say-so on how that money is dispensed within the school, right?
We do not.
We do not. Okay. And by the way, I know we all do appreciate information. I know Wanda and I in particular appreciate the information on the shawls. We really appreciate getting that. They'll help us a lot. The stoles, yes. And on March the 1st at 10 o'clock, will there be a lunch served with that?
Yes.
And do we need to RSVP if we're going to attend?
No.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And that is in your email, council members.
Okay.
I think we've already.
All right, Councilman Warner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jennifer, just really quick, last week I went up for Higher Ed Day in Oklahoma City, and we looked at this last year about this time when we looked at the concurrent enrollment stuff. If you could pull some of those numbers that we've got, and I would really be interested in looking, since they waived the tuition for seniors for up to 9 hours, I would be interested in seeing if we could do that. I know we cover the books and fees, but we do have some seniors that are taking up to 9 hours. I know we do 6 hours book tuition and fees, and I would be, keeping the juniors the same at 6 hours right now and kind of giving the seniors a boost, especially if the state's waiving tuition, then we're just picking up books and fees on that, so I'd be interested in looking at that.
Okay, we can do that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Crittenden?
Yes. Jennifer, I was just gonna update this body. I sent a few emails about the immersion school, student or two, having a hard time getting to school with the immersion school. And I'd like to thank Holly, if she's still here, making an appearance. Oh, there she is. But she's, and Jennifer, you conducted the survey, right?
We started one, yes.
Okay.
We have a few responses.
Okay.
14
Right.
so far, and so about half of those
betcha.
said they
So-
may be interested.
So thank you. So that's some of the data that I was gonna try to, I didn't do it, they did it, so thank you. And so that was just a little update, and like I said, culture, language, I mean, there you go. And if it winds up being enough for a bus, I think we'd have a lot of support on that. If it winds up being, the way we do it around home is, a little van. And every school over there makes sure that they run and get them. So thank you for your work you're doing on that, and I'll keep y'all updated just as they update me. I think it's a really important deal, like a lot of us do.
Hey, Councilman Crittenden, could you brief the council on what you're trying to do on these routes?
Just simply, if there's a busload of kids needing a ride to the immersion school, like a lot of us are in education, we see every day. I think we'd want to give, and I'm not doubting nobody doesn't want to give them that. I'm just saying, I think we're in a position, we'll give them immersion school kids that chance too. If it's a big bus or like a lot of the places, like I said, a van, just get them to school.
Yeah.
And if, around home, if they want to go to one of those schools, by golly, we get them there some way.
Is there a bus that comes to Stillwell to pick I know there's a bus that picks the Sequoia kids up, but is there a bus that picks the
High school.
immersion?
Now, what I'm running into, and you might correct me on here, Jennifer, is I think right now there's a policy that they can ride the bus if they're in sixth or seventh and eighth
grade.
Seventh and eighth. And that was another option that I thought someone may talk about, is looking at that policy, because I think all the schools in our area, and they allow the little ones and the big ones together. If that's something, if a bus does go by there, a bus or something. I just doing a little digging on it, and
Yeah, we're still digging.
I know
We've
you
kind
are.
of started that process, so we'll
But
keep you updated as we go through that cycle.
I think, what you got? Thank you, Dave.
All right, thank you, Councilman Crittenden, and that's a great idea, by the way. Any other questions for Ms. Jennifer? Seeing none. Jennifer, good report.
Thank you.
Next, we got Head Start. Come on,
She
Jolene.
did. She did Head Start.
Okay, she did Head Start. So Miss Jolene Rose, former Miss Indian USA, and she's also our principal at Sequoia High School. Does an amazing job.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Quall's asking for me to sit in and just share some information with you, and so I'm going to give you what he sent me, and I may add a couple of things just to share with you some things that we have going on specifically there at the high school. The chess club traveled to Jinx. There was an open chess tournament this past Saturday. I'm not sure how we did just yet. I don't have anything on that. VEX robotics competition was at Claremore on Saturday. The wrestling team participated in the regional high school tournament at Sperry on the 15th and the 16th. We have one wrestler that will travel to state, so we had one that made it out of the regional tournament. Qualifying members will, again, travel to Oklahoma City Fairgrounds. That happens this Friday, February 22nd, and Saturday, the 23rd. Again, that's the state high school wrestling tournament. The drama team, or the speech and drama club, attended The Little Prince at the Tulsa PAC yesterday. It was an opera. They got to see a hometown girl, a young lady that's from Tulsa that participated in the youth opera, much like Caitlin Morton, who graduated just last year. Anyway, had gone on and graduated from Juilliard and has 2 masters, but they got to see her perform, and it was really, I got to go, as a matter of fact, myself, and it was a wonderful experience. Sequoia will host the varsity, or we did host the district tournament Saturday night against Sperry. Both the boys and the girls are the district champions, and so that was exciting for us to be able to do that. This coming week, we were also blessed. Oh, Mr. Crittenden just sent me that the wrestling regional was at Perry, not at Sperry. Thank you, Mr. Crittenden. That the regional tournament, we were also blessed to be able to host the regional tournament as a main site this school year. Sequoia is very honored to do so, and so Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the place where they play, we will be a poppin'. Both the boys and girls will play Thursday night, starting at 6:30 and then 8, and then hopefully we'll play in the championship game on Saturday night again at 6:30 and 8.
Jolene, did you guys get that parking situated up there?
It's being worked on. I don't think that it's completed just yet, but it's most definitely being worked on. And Mr. Crittenden, if you have other news and would like to share, I have my phone right here.
Mr. Qualls and I went up and looked at that, and I want to thank David Moore and his group
Absolutely.
for bringing in the dirt and crushed rock.
We
It's going to be good because it's going to allow for maybe 75 vehicles. So,
right there in front.
yes. It's going to accommodate the elderly and the handicapped because that gymnasium is not built in the best location. That wasn't the initial plan. I mean, you have to be in shape, get up those steps.
Sure.
Yeah, so.
You have to be in pretty good shape to get up the ramp.
Yes. So, but anyway, this is the first time they've been blessed with hosting being the main site. So that's good.
We're very excited.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we will also host at the same time, Friday the 22nd and Saturday the 23rd, the first ever OSSAA qualifying speech and debate tournament for regionals is happening at Sequoia. And so we are going to let out school just a little bit early on Friday to try to accommodate traffic, both for the regional basketball tournament and then also for that speech and debate competition. The Pride of Sequoia received a 2, which is an excellent score, and a 1, which is a superior score in sight reading at the Shakota concert competition. They have 2 more concert competitions coming up this week. They'll travel to Wagner, and then they will also be at Tahlequah High School at the end of this week. Then with that, I would just share with you a couple of things. We have the regional accreditation officer coming to visit our site so that our school, Sequoia High School, can be accredited with the State Department of Oklahoma. She'll be here. Leslie Janis is her name. She'll be here Wednesday. We also are in the planning stages of the Farm to School grant. That grant will come to a close, or it will come to a close for us around June 30th of this year, and we will start really looking at writing a Farm to School grant in all of its glory. So we visited several places within the Cherokee Nation as far as getting ideas as to how we can best make that work on our campus. We also are writing we're in the 3rd year of the 21st Century Community Learning Centers grant. This is the last year of that grant, and so we're in the process of writing another for 3 years. So we have many things that are going on as well. And as with any public school, and I would just share with you that most definitely when you do provide the financial support that you provide to the public schools, it's greatly appreciated. I know that it is. And the fact that you don't tag it specifically for any kind of purposes also allows them many opportunities to use those funds in a very positive way. And so I just want to say thank you most definitely for that. The only other thing that I would share then would be, I have a beautiful bracket for both the girls and the boys that I can leave with you, and I'm sure we can get somebody to make copies. This one's a little bit easier to follow than the one that OSSAA puts on their site. The only thing that's different is you can't tell what color, if it's going to be the light jersey or the dark jersey, that the school is going to wear by this bracket. But it's a whole lot easier to read as far as if you win, you get to go to the right. If you lose, you got to go to the left. And obviously, when you look at this bracket, it takes a little bit longer to get to state if you do get to go to state through the losers bracket. But that's our report in a nutshell.
Any other questions for Ms. Schopp? Sorry.
No worries.
All right.
Good report.
Get your report.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, Jolene.
You can leave those brackets with Gail.
Old business, none pending. New business. Councilman Warner, you want to take that, or?
Yes. This is a resolution recognizing the volunteer work of Jose Acala on the Remember the Movable bike ride, and I move for its approval.
Yes, any discussion?
No, I'd just like to be added to a sponsor.
Okay. You must be added as a sponsor for Jose? Yes. Ms. Victoria, all right. Who's, can someone kind of tell us what the significance of Jose is?
Yes, I think all the council members here received the email from Judge Jennifer Johnson, Jennifer Barter Johnson, about his work and his volunteer work on Remember the Removal Bike Ride, and how he volunteers his time to service our bikes. And that's a tremendous savings to our tribe.
Okay.
It's a tremendous thing he's done. And when I saw his resume, I was just blown away at the volunteer work, especially in regards to bicycling, that he's done. Anyway, I move for its passage.
Okay, great. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This needs to go to full council. Is he going to be here this evening, or are we going to wait next month? Okay, all right. There's nothing else on there. Announcements? Any announcements? Seeing none, all those will adjourn here at 3:40. Hear a motion to adjourn? Motion, second.